Bloodlines
Looks
2,
like,
bad news.
yeah, serious bad news.
Here, I'll just pull up this headline here. So,
At this point, I would not be surprised if this game ultimately ends up never shipping. At this point, I think that that is very likely that this game is never going to see the light of day because I don't know how you go from hey, we're ready to release, we just need a little bit more polish a year ago and delaying it a little bit to now it's you've fired everybody who's working on the studio and you've delayed it indefinitely.
yes, because
Like to me,
this game has been plagued by development problems. It's people leaving the development studio, but now the entire studio that was developing this game, Hardsuit Labs, they've been removed from the project. I mean, that's no small
yeah,
potatoes.
Mm-hmm.
As this is bad. This is very bad.
this is extremely bad because again at the absolute minimum this means that something massively wrong has gone on and it could be a money issue. It could be that the heads, and again I don't even know how this is working. It could be that somebody decided, hey, I'm gonna just fire the people that are working on this, probably stiff them like the last couple months of pay, or maybe they're like final like maybe they had a deal for like an extra uh, maybe they had a deal where they were supposed to get like 30% of all the sales of the game, and then the person basically, again, and I wouldn't even know who that is at this point because it's just gone off the rails so completely that the person's like, well, I'm just going to fire them, say that it was that they screwed up on some kind of part of the deal or something like that, and then we just won't have to pay them that, and then I'll just get another developer to come in and fix it for like a paltry sum, wrap it up and then ship it like, this fall or something like that.
I mean
That could be what's going on.
that doesn't bode well for it either, though. If they want
But
to
yeah, but
bring in
no,
a
that
cheap
doesn't
studio for it,
that
yeah,
that doesn't bode well for it at all. And to me, that sounds like, potentially like you're just going to be drowning in lawsuits for the next like 50 years. Like, I really don't like. It's just there's nothing in this story that is good or confirming to the series. All this does is reinforce the idea of this is going to be this is currently a train wreck, and that just ultimately, yeah, just ultimately, like, this isn't good, and in any
mm-hmm.
way there's no way that this is a good sign in any case.
Yeah.
And I think that ultimately we're looking at something really bad here. So
It's definitely not coming in 2021 as previously planned, as they put in their development update here, and they also announce here that like they say nice things about Hardsuit Labs, and thank you for your. We'd like to take this opportunity to honor Hardsuit Labs for their efforts and thank them for their hard work on the project. The studio has done a tremendous job in laying the foundations for the game, and we hope that you, the community, will appreciate their contribution to Bloodlines 2. Kind of rings hollow when the entire studio's been canned from the project. I
yeah,
don't. It's like what's really going on there. We don't have any confirmation on why they did this.
Mm.
now I've heard the same things that like a lot of people are in the chat talking about the um, how the lore was just ran over by a train. And I do have to, as some of our longtime fans would know, that we've had an interview with Chris Avalon in the past, and I got to say that he was taken off the project fairly unfairly, and he has. I mean, Chris Avalon has a vision for story. I mean, that is one thing you can say about him. The other thing that, again, I'm going to repeat because this bears repeating, the accusations made against him were recanted, and the person who complained admitted that basically she made them up. So, again, for just because people tend to forget, and I want to make sure that this gets out there because Chris, was given the absolute garbage end of the stick on this, and people just immediately cut him off and said, "Oh, you're guilty," and then found out that turns out that this person was out for personal profit and gain, and thought that making up a story about somebody was the best way to do this.
Garbage.
Yeah,
I,
garbage,
That's all. It's
garbage, garbage, garbage,
just
garbage.
a
So Chris Avalon, yes, I just want to reiterate, he was completely exonerated. He is also a master at storytelling, and if Chris has an idea for a story, um, I would say you go with it. And what we've seen is that just that on this project and on another project, um, when somebody else goes, I know what's going on here, and I'm gonna come in, and I'm gonna be the perfect person to take over this whole project, and I'm gonna make it so much better because I'm awesome. When you have somebody do that, the game absolutely turns into a train wreck,
yeah.
because when you're telling an advanced story that's deep, that's well connected, that has really deep lore, you have to be so careful. One mistake just ruins the entire thing. And
mhm,
and I would say the best example of this is Anthem, because Anthem was a thing that Mark and I think Chris had a little bit of a hand in the early like conceptual phase, and Mark did a bunch of writing for that. I think I'm saying his name right. I hope I'm not mixing it up with Matt or Mark. But anyway, you have these people who design the core concept of the universe, and then they get into writing, and then they get kicked off the project, and then somebody else gets brought in, and then they try and like make sense of something that they don't even understand really, and they don't even have any experience on, like and it's just a sudden train wreck of stupidity, and it's just an absolute mess. And I think I'm worried that that's what's going to happen here. I'm worried that that where they were going with the story, like the first concept of it was like, hey, they're doing this thing, and it was great. They brought on these people, and then they started to fire some of those people. And I mean, just from the trailer itself, I didn't like where the trailer was going. um it was a little bit.
Sorry, I
Exactly.
was muted there. It was very weird. It was very disturbing. That trailer did not appeal to me at all.
Yeah.
I get that
So it
it's yeah, I get that it's a vampire game, but it was holy hell was that a messed up. It didn't appeal. But what are the chances that, like you said, and many people in the chat are saying that the story and the lore were looking pretty messed up. What are the chances that that Hardsuit Labs got canned because they made a mess of it, and that the publisher is now bringing in somebody else to fix it? What maybe it got Kathleen Kennedy'd, and then they're trying
I
to
love the
avoid a
term.
Star Wars situation.
I hope so. Like I said, that's probably the absolute best thing that could come out of this, is like a revamping. But this also means that we're looking at like probably another year and a half to like just to get, like, if you're gonna have to rewrite a bunch of stuff, the rewriting of stuff, the going through the changing of the, like, say you have a world and it's fairly open world, and all you have to really do is like change the quests, right? The quests and a bunch of the dialogue and stuff like that. That means you also have to change the animation. You also have to redo a whole bunch of scenes, which means you have to you have to go in and see if you can rebuild some of the conversation tech that you have in the game. That's probably on the table too, which means you basically you're going back to the drawing board, and that's just to get people organized, actors and stuff like that, just to get them like to go through it and do a good job of like picking out good ones, and then you know checking out who you want, and checking out who's going to be good for what roles, and then arranging their times, and then having them come in and having them do proper acting, and preferably having a couple of them who are doing scenes together be in the same booth at the same time doing multiple recording. It just makes the most amount of sense. And it's the best thing to do. Just to organize all that in today's current day and age with all the problems that's currently going on, I suspect that that's going to at least tack on 2 years. and so we're not going to see. I don't think we're going to see this game until 2023, which sucks because then we're already pushing into like the early, new gen tech games coming out at that point, and
Yeah,
that's
that's brutal. That's brutal. Moon,
yeah.
you sounded like you wanted to pitch something in a minute ago. Did you have some
I
thoughts
think that
about this?
I think that might have been my voice hitting her microphone.
Yeah, there was a little feedback there, but no, there was a comment from the Islington girl that I enjoyed where she commented, "The whole setting, from what I read as a person with some knowledge of the lore, is total gobbledygook."
Yeah,
Gobbledygook.
yeah, and I heard that like after the core people left the team, like Chris and whatnot. I heard that it just started to go downhill real quick. So
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, that's too bad. This was definitely a highly anticipated game. Very
Mm-hmm.
unfortunate.